अच्छा। एक ही। ठीक है, ये अच्छा तो है कलर, तो खाली ये लोग करते हैं। हाँ, ये कलर अच्छा है। हाँ, और कितना कपड़ा है? अच्छा। ग्रीन कलर का। अच्छा। हम्म।
Audible now? I think. Is it okay? Audible now? I think. Yes. Okay, fine. So come back to basic work. So we started with idea of Swaraj and nationalism. So Gandhi was extension of Tilak. So moderate politics, Gokhale, and extremist politics was Tilak. Okay. So despite that, the political guru of Gandhi was Gokhale. But at the same time, Gandhi carried forward the legacy of Tilak also. So here we have combination of both moderate and extremist politics that come across with the Gandhian theory, Gandhian ideology. So what I said that let us go with the pointed answer. And I started talking about the difference and the similarity between Gandhi and Tilak. I told you that Tilak was first person who politically used the word boycott and made it a tool of Indian national movement. Okay. It was a very powerful instrument of Indian national movement, particularly during the Swadeshi movement. So, Arya Samajist leader, those who used the word Swaraj or the boycott, was well acknowledged under the leadership of Tilak. Gandhi also used boycott, but the beauty of Gandhian boycott was constructive boycott. Constructive boycott. This is beauty of the Gandhian boycott. So constructive boycott means the Gandhi will definitely dominate by asking people to carry forward the boycott program. So here is a close similarity between Tilak and Gandhi. Boycott and constructive boycott. Boycott and constructive boycott. Okay. Then at the same time, Tilak, after coming out of jail, 6 years of the continuous imprisonment in Mandalay jail. So here Tilak, he wanted to initiate the mass movement. During the Home Ruling movement, Tilak started mass contact program. Tilak started mass contact. However, the Gandhi definitely pursued the technique of mass mobilization. Technique of mass mobilization in India. So he was very much in the mass contact program. Okay. Mass contact. Then Tilak, in order to intensify the movement, in order to do the mass politics, he believed in the Hindu-Muslim unity. Hindu-Muslim unity. This is the main theme of the Tilak. And that is the reason why there was a Lucknow Pact. Lucknow Pact was signed. And we know that Lucknow Pact is all about, it's between Gandhi, because of the effort of Tilak and Jinnah. Both had played a very significant role in handling the affairs at Lucknow. Lucknow Pact of 1916 was a significant event which guaranteed the mass participated in non-cooperation movement, and the foundation was laid by Tilak. And of course, Gandhi, he he was a prophet of Hindu-Muslim unity, prophet of Hindu-Muslim unity. And always he agreed to work for transitional phase of the elite class politics to the mass politics. So Hindu-Muslim unity was a very important agenda. Hindu-Muslim was a very important agenda of Gandhi. Then Tilak and Gandhi continued. Tilak, he used religion in politics very frequently. He believed in cultural regeneration. Cultural regeneration. Tilak and Gandhi believed in Tilak believed in cultural regeneration, like Ganesh festival, Shivaji festival, all was carried out by Tilak. However, Gandhi had fundamentals of Ram Rajya. He wanted a stateless society, where anybody can live without any fear, without any fervor. So Ram Raj. And even during the non-cooperation movement, he integrated the Khilafat issue. So therefore, Gandhi was extension of Tilak. Gandhi was extension of Tilak. Khilafat issue. Okay. So non-cooperation movement and Khilafat issue is a very integrated format. So Gandhi also used religion to fulfill the ideals. Then Tilak, he wrote Gita Rahasya. This was commentary on Gita. Commentary on Gita. He believed in theory of karma, which is a principle of the advocacy of Gita, Krishna. So Gita Rahasya. And Gandhi also always inspired by theory of karma. Gita was the religious text that was followed by Gandhi. Then Tilak, he was also a very popular journalist. He used journalism to propagate the ideas. He published Kesari and Maharatha Kesari was in English and Maratha was in Marathi. English and the Marathi. So Tilak used these weapons as weapons are very powerful thing. Kesari and Maratha. However, if we find Gandhi, he was also very much involved in activities of journalist. And ever since he entered in the political field, he published Indian Opinion, Navjeevan, Young India, and Heritage. So therefore the Gandhi was very much in tune with the principle of Tilak. Always followed the line which was guided by the nationalism and Swaraj. Okay. So many journalist activities was proposed by Gandhi. Gandhi was fundamentally a propagandist. He was an excellent contributor in the field of literature, which always guide the people in a very philosophical manner. Okay. But now look at the point here. Tilak and Gandhi entered in politics very late. Tilak was a veteran contribution in the Indian national movement. So when Gandhi joined politics 1915, when he came to India after South Africa visit, so 1915 Gandhi said that if you help British will help you. British will help you. This is a statement of Gandhi in 1915. If you help British will help you. But at the same time, Tilak said, $1 million statement Tilak said, there is no example in human history. There is no example in human history where ruler is guided by the interest of the ruled. So it is foolish on our part to think that British will do good for us. Look at this statement again. There is no example in human history where ruler is guided by the interest of the ruled. So it is foolish on our part to think that British will do good for us. British will do good for us. So there is no example in human history where ruler was guided by the interest of the ruled. So it is foolish on our part to think that British will do good for us. This is Gandhi and Tilak. And finally Gandhi had to agree. After the Hunter Committee report related to the Jallianwala Bagh incident, what Gandhi said was same as the Tilak. Gandhi said that cooperation in any form with this satanic government is sin. So cooperation in any form with this satanic government is sin. So finally, a cooperator turned into non-cooperator and loyalist turned into opponent. So this is the reason why this particular question had a well framed, and this is what the Gandhi was extension of Tilak. Okay, so Gandhi was extension of Tilak. That is a well drafted question which was very easy in dimension. You can frame it as quick as possible, right? So idea of Swaraj and nationalism preached by Tilak, it was extended into practicality by Gandhi. Now come to this question, economic history of India. Economic policy adopted by British converted India from being the golden bird of world to being one of the most impoverished economy in the world. Discuss the impact of British economic policies. Okay, look, ever since British transformed into political power 1757, after almost 150 years British was a trading organization, but 1757 Battle of Plassey, 23rd June. So ever since British transformed into political power in 1757, then approach of the British and the relations with India had changed. It was beginning of colonialism. Okay. And this colonialism continued till 1947. So 190 years of the British colonial period, 1757 to 1947, 190 years of the British colonial period. In this colonial period, India was excused by the British government. If you have a data, look at the data. 1757, 1757, India constituted 25% of world GDP. So one-fourth was totally by the India. So you can understand the economic might. We were the largest economy in the world. So look at the power of economy in 1757. But my dear, in 1947, it had reduced to 4%. This was disaster, and which could be explained as a part of the impact of British economic policies. Impact of British economic policies, which is a very common thing. So, impact of British economic policies. As far as export is concerned, look at the export of India. Before the British entered in political circle and British left, in 1757, 50% of the total demand of handicraft in the world alone supplied by India. 1757 alone supplied. 50% of the total demand of handicraft in the world alone supplied by India. So that time the consumer item means what? Consumer items means what? The consumer items was the exporting variety. Export variety. So it was only handicraft because there was no industrial revolution and we have dominated in the handicraft product. Okay, and then 1947 it had reduced to 1%. Reduced to 1%. So look at the sharp decline, and it's only and only the policy was policy of colonialism. Okay, so the British transformed India being an exporter of consumer goods. India became importer of British products. Importer of British product. This is how the definition was made. So export of consumer goods and import of British product. This is how India was. Export of consumer goods and import of British product. Fine. So till 1947. Here is the impact of British economic policies. We have drain of wealth, commercialization of agriculture, destruction of handicraft industries, rural indebtedness, and growth of agriculture. So drain of wealth, commercialization of agriculture, destruction of handicraft industries, rural indebtedness, and growth of agriculture. These are the things. So drain of wealth had totally depleted the treasury of India. Commercialization of agriculture was a beautiful thing. Destruction of handicraft industries, rural indebtedness, and growth of agriculture. So this is how the India was squeezed by the Britishers. So drain of wealth. It had started immediately after the Battle of Plassey and it continued till 1947. There were various forms of drain and it was in the form of the capital flight. Capital flight. Bullions was flowing out of this country. So obviously it was in the form of capital flight. Commercialization of agriculture, although it looked very good, in the primary observation, it looked very good. So you can see that in the second half of the 19th century, British tried to change the agricultural pattern of India. Cotton, jute, indigo, tea, opium, etc. Cotton, jute, indigo, tea, opium, etc. Look, it's not like that. The British did not had this before the revolt of 1860. It was produced much earlier, but after the 1860s, it started growing for market. right? So once it is started going for market, we use the term commercialization of agriculture. Commercialization of agriculture. Destruction of handicraft industries. Destruction of handicraft. Agriculture and handicraft was two main bases of Indian economy. Was two main bases of Indian economy. Agriculture and handicraft was the two main bases of Indian economy. But very soon handicraft declined. Declined. So if you look at the 1900 to 1800 to 1900, in 100 years of the company's rule, handicraft declined sharply. There was no way that India was observing the handicraft industries in a very positive manner. So 1800 to 1900, it had declined sharply. Handicraft lost its relevance. The reason was quite obvious. Reason was quite obvious that Indian handicraft industries had dominance in the world market. So how the British industrialization will sustain? Obviously, when India would turn out to be market for the British industrial product, and if there is a handicraft, British would never be able to find the market. So therefore, the British had a meticulous policy to destroy the handicraft industries, and thereby India turned out to be the biggest importer of the British product. So how the golden bird, the most prosperous country, become a poor country? The only way that British did, it had reversed the balance of trade. Reverse the balance of trade. Okay. So this is how the handicraft industry had decreased sharply. Okay. Then growth of agricultural labor and rural indebtedness. Look, growth of agricultural labor is basically what? When the peasant sold the land by any region, whether the peasant became a debt region or whether the peasant had lost its relevance of the cultivation. So therefore they had to sell the land. This is called depeasantization. Depeasantization. So therefore the peasants lost its relevance and growth of agriculture. This is called depeasantization. Second was rural indebtedness. Both these factors led to the development of underdevelopment. Look at the word development of underdevelopment. Development of underdevelopment. Development of underdevelopment. Both these things. So that had a tremendous impact. But look, it's not like that all the steps taken by the British was extremely negative. There are some positive impact which is still found positive impact, like with the help of British method of colonialism that led to the establishment of means of communication. So means of communication means railway, telegraph. It's all a British legacy. Railway, telegraph. So that was beneficial to India. Second, all the modern capitalist class. That time, Tata, Birla, Bajaj, all the modern capitalist class, it had developed very swiftly. And third is that is modern industries, right? Steel industry, jute industry, cotton industry. So modern industries was also put. These are the positive impact of the British economic policies. There was a rise of middle class and class of industrial labor. Middle class and class of industrial labor. So they had given tremendous development in the rise of nationalism. They formed the labor union very swiftly. Okay, so this is how the impact of the British economic policies was acknowledged. Okay, so look at the question and then understand the theme of the question. Economic policy adopted by British converted India from being the golden bird of world of being one of the most impoverished economy in the world. Discuss the impact of the British economic policies, right? So understand the theme of the question, write some of the paragraphs in impact and then some explanation of the region of the impact, right? It would be easy. So economic policy. But first explain what is called as one of the most prosperous country in the world. So what are the data that you'll use to suffix that? You know, British till date never agreed that we have done colonialism in India. British always said there was no colonialism in India. And whatever we have taken, we return it back, and therefore we have developed, we have created India. This is the formula that was adopted by the British. Okay, so this is called colonialism. Colonialism in India. So therefore, in 190 years of the British colonial period, the golden bird had transformed into bird. 190 years of the British colonial period, golden bird had transformed into bird. Had transformed into bird. Okay. Then come to the next question. This question was, some question in modern India like battles of Panipat changed the course of Indian history at different points of time. discuss and also mention that why many empire-seeking battles had taken at Panipat. Look, the Battle of Panipat, definitely a very significant event in the Indian history. There are so many battles that we can think about. So many battles. So let's summarize and the event and the consequences largely. There is some technical issues involved. So finally we got the theme. So Battle of Panipat. So there are three battles of Panipat. One was 1526, other was 1565, and then another one was 1765. So 1556. So 1526, when the Babur invaded over India, and Babur defeated Lodi. So thereafter, the Delhi Sultanate had forever ended, and the Turkish hegemony, the homogeneous Turkish nobility, was also ended, and Babur, the Mughal, established. They were the resident of the Central Asia. Then 1556, when the great Hemu Vikramaditya, he was defeated by Akbar, and after this defeat, in the second battle of Panipat, Hemu was about to defeat Akbar. But when Hemu won the war or about to win the war, he immediately jumped on elephant to take the round of the battlefield. But suddenly arrows shot in his eyes and he fell down and his military ran away. So this second battle of Panipat, R.P. Tripathi, he made a beautiful sensational comment. R.P. Tripathi said that defeat of Hemu was an accident and victory of Akbar was divine grace. So defeat of Hemu was an accident and victory of Akbar was divine grace. So with this divine grace, Akbar laid the foundation of such a solid empire which lasted for 300 years. So you can imagine that how this battle was. It was indeed empire-shaking battle, right? So therefore, what I said, the defeat of Hemu was an accident, but the victory of Akbar was divine grace. This is a beautiful statement of R.P. Tripathi, celebrated historian. And with this small divine grace, Akbar laid the foundation of such a solid empire which was lasted for 300 years. This is what the intention of Akbar was. And here 1761, Maratha versus Ahmad Shah Abdali. So before the war of Battle of Panipat, Maratha versus Abdali, before the Battle of Panipat, third battle, it was considered that the Maratha was the most powerful challenger of the British, most powerful successor of the British. Okay, but after this Battle of Panipat, we can say that this battle did not decided who is going to rule India, but this battle had decided who is not, and that is Maratha. Okay, so this battle had not decided who is going to rule India, but this battle had definitely decided who is not, and that is Maratha. Okay, this is how the Battle of Panipat was registered or designed. 1760. Okay, so now the next part of this question is that why so many empire-shaking battles had taken place in Panipat. This is another explanation. Okay, so let's talk about the explanation of this question, that why so many empire-shaking battles had taken place in Panipat. So here, first reason was that the Panipat was located in the core region. There are three types of peripheral thing. The first is called center. Then there is a core. And then there is a periphery. Okay. So center, core and periphery. These things. So Panipat, it lies in the core area. Core. This is called the core. Okay. And it was a meeting point of invaders and defenders. So those who invade, at periphery there was no such defense mechanism, but core area it was a proper defense mechanism, and this is centralized. Okay, so it was a meeting point of core was meeting point of invaders and the defenders. Meeting point of invaders and defenders. This is the core area. Second was the GT road, which connect India with the Central Asia. So GT road was the only connecting route which passed through the Panipat. So all the invaders from the Central Asia, they take this route. Third, it was a plain area. So it was ideal place for cantonment. Fourth, beyond Panipat towards the west, there was a sizable amount of Muslim population had developed, and therefore this population was definitely regarded as helpful for the invaders because its entire Turkish Sultanate had a very core area in this region. So these are the factors that why empire-shaking battles had taken place in Panipat. Okay. So look at this question. This is a very interesting question. Next question is, look at the question. It's looking big. Though British stated the intention of modernization of India, but they adopted reactionary policies on the pretext that Indians were not fit for self-rule. In the light of above statement, elaborate the policies adopted by British to continue their hold over India. This is something very nice approach to understand. Look at the British expansion policies versus the consolidation. British expansion policies versus the consolidation. So here, British expansion policy, this is called policy of consolidation. And here there was rise of nationalism. This is immediately after the revolt of 1857. Then 1885, Indian National Congress came into existence, and then nationalism had transformed into Indian National Movement. And thereafter, we have the policy of divide and rule. The British started the policy of divide and rule. Then subsequently, the advent of Gandhi in 1915, and Gandhi, he transformed Indian national movement into mass movement. Okay. And then after the advent of Gandhi, you'll find that British was forced to compromise with the rising mass sentiments. So British adopted the policy of compromise with the mass movement. So this is called war of position. War of position. This is called war of position. So each and every ways that British try to create the structural consolidation, finally the nationalism had started. So look at the context of the question before we start writing. Though British stated the intention of modernization of India, but they adopted reactionary policies on the pretext that Indians were not fit for self-rule. In the light of above statement, elaborate the policies adopted by the British to continue their hold over India. Okay. So stated policies. The Indian National Movement. Before the start of the Indian National Movement, ever since the East India Company came into political power in 1757, there was a structural formation in India had started. A structural formation in India had started. So after the structural formation, there was development of general administration, revenue administration, and judicial administration. All types of administration was initiated by the British. All types of administration was initiated by the British. So tools and mechanism used by British to exercise control over India, similar tools and mechanism used by Indians to overthrow British rule from India. Okay, similar tools and mechanism used by Indians to overthrow British rule from India. British rule from India. So Indian national movement had categorized this important and powerful instrumentation, all types of administration. So general, revenue and judicial administration. Even the ICS, which was started by the British, this was actually way back in 1793 when Lord Cornwallis was there. He was the Governor General. He created the post of DC and DJ. He separated the judicial department with the revenue department. This is a soft separation. So, my dear, that time the salary of collector was 1500 rupees. Cornwallis had declared objective, declared his policy. Higher post should be reserved for the Britishers, Europeans, and lower post for the Indians. Cornwallis considered the Indians are not fit to rule. Therefore, all the low profile works, menial works, was given to the British, given to the Indians, and British got very high position. So, my dear, once this examination system had started in 1853, till 1870s, only 5 Indians had passed in the civil services examination. Only 5 Indians. So, obvious point is that the British was not considering Indian to enter in the civil services so that the British colonial intention could be challenged. So Indian national movement had got this one. Okay. Even you'll find during the Ilbert Bill controversy, this controversy came in 1883. Ilbert, C.P. Ilbert, he was a law member in the Viceroy's Executive Council. So C.P. Ilbert said that let us remove the judicial discrimination, judicial anomaly. Okay, after the Ilbert Bill, even Indian judges can see the criminal case of Europeans. Indian judges can see the criminal case of Europeans. Okay, this is called Ilbert Bill controversy. Indian judges can see the criminal case of Europeans. But obviously, the whites in India and whites in England had revolted. And revolt was so panoramic that the British Prime Minister Gladstone charged Ripon of mismanagement. So finally, the jury system was implemented. Jury system was implemented. System was implemented. So that had given huge shock to the Indians. Indians said that since so many years, when Victoria announced in 1858 Queen's Proclamation that there will be no discrimination against Indians. Despite that, till 1883, this discrimination continued. And then jury system was implemented under pressure. So therefore Indians said that despite the fact that Queen had obligation towards India, so that had emotional impact on the life of the Indians. And here at this point you can say that is Ilbert Bill. Ilbert. So it had a very huge emotional impact. It gave Indian nationalism an organized form of revolt, right? An organized form of revolt. So it had transformed nationalism into Indian national movement. Nationalism into Indian national. Okay, fine. So Ilbert will controversy. Now come to the concluding things here. One of the important aspect, discuss the origin, spirit and participation of civil disobedience movement during the freedom struggle of India. Okay, writing question into 50 words, you have to verify all the content. You cannot skip the content at least. So here uh, the concept of this simple straightforward question, the causes. You know, Gandhi had launched three mass movement: non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, and quit India. Gandhi had launched three mass movements: NCM, CDM, and quit India. This is what is called STS model of Gandhi. Struggle, truce, struggle model, STS model. So non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, and quit India movement. Causes were, the first important factor was Calcutta session of Indian National Congress. So Calcutta session of Indian National Congress, 1928, it accepted the Nehru report. After departure of Simon Commission, Indians had framed its own constitutional body, and then Nehru report was presented. So many things was demanded in the Nehru report. And in this session, the British gave the chance to India to present a model for constitution, which was challenged after departure of the Simon Commission. But Congress accepted Nehru report and gave ultimatum to the British to accept it within a year. Otherwise, Congress will go for the mass movement. So as expected, the British did not accept the Nehru report. Even the Viceroy Irving said the dominion status, but the issue will be resolved after the roundtable conferences. So dominion status is a very important one. It could be resolved. Dominion status. So therefore, Lahore resolution was passed, and now, as per the ultimatum, Congress was ready for the mass movement. Gandhi also supported the launching of the mass movement. The second factor was Great Economic Depression. Great Economic Depression. 1929-30. Great Economic Depression. 1929-30. During the Great Economic Depression, Britain had adopted economic nationalism. Nationalism. Britain had adopted the economic nationalism. Adopted the economic nationalism. That is export promotion and import restriction. Export promotion and import restriction. So I had adopted the economic nationalism. Export promotion and import restriction. Great economic depression. So here the economy of India suffered badly. There was massive unemployment. There was a huge price rise. So therefore the economic sufferance of India was huge. Huge economic sufferance. This is the Great Economic Depression. Okay. Third aspect is it was Gandhi's 11-point ultimatum. 11-point ultimatum. Gandhi's 11-point ultimatum. So many points was raised, but Viceroy Irwin rejected the proposal. Irwin had rejected the proposal. Therefore, Gandhi had no option but to launch the mass civil disobedience movement. No option but to launch the mass civil disobedience movement. Mass civil disobedience movement. Gandhi's 11-point ultimatum. Fourth is that tax on salt. And obviously, after the constructive work of Gandhi, there was a trial which has to be there. So constructive work of Gandhi added huge mass support. So the mass participation was quite variable. Quite variable. There was participation of peasants, which was always there. Participation of labor was there. Middle class had participated. Zamindar had participated. There was participation of women. There was participation of capitalists. So Muslims remained absent in the civil disobedience movement because of the debacle of the Khilafat Siraj issue. The Muslims remain absent from the civil disobedience movement. Mass participation. The peasants, labor, middle class, jamindar, women, capitalists. But these participants had tremendous contribution, which overshadowed the absence of the Muslims. Therefore, overall intensity of the movement was very high. That is one thing we have to talk. Okay, and then we start talking about the two phases of civil disobedience movement, 1930 to 1932. This is the first phase, and second was 1932 to 34. This is the second phase. So in both the phases, you can deal with some important parameters. So in both the phases, there was salt satyagraha, there was nai dhobi bandh, there was forest satyagraha. Salt satyagraha, it was in entire coastal areas. The way that Gandhi started the Dandi March, similar march was organized by Sri Rajgopalachari from Tanjore. So salt was such a common issue, which was connected to the rich, which was connected to the poor. So Gandhi had selected this issue, and because of that, there was a huge participation of women also. The day Gandhi lit the fire to boil the water, 12th March to 5th April. So therefore, huge participation. He started only 78 satyagrahis from Sabarmati, and once he reached the Dandi, lakhs of the people were there. Likewise, forest satyagraha. This is peacefully, Indian law should be violated. So forest satyagraha. Forest sustain you, you sustain forest. You sustain forest. So this is forest satyagraha. Forest sustain you. So tribals had a very strong reactions. Forest sustain tribals and tribal sustain forest. So it had a very strong reaction. And fourth is, that is non-payment of chowkidari tax. Non-payment of chowkidari tax. So that is how the important parameters was taken into consideration. So non-payment of chowkidari tax. And of course, the integral part of the program was non-payment of land. Integral part of the program was non-payment of land. Okay, so first phase was in the same. But as you know that parallel to civil disobedience movement, there was a round table conferences. There were 3 round table conferences organized. 3 round table conferences organized. First round table conference, Congress did not participate, but second round table conference, Congress participated. And since the participation of Congress was huge, therefore, definitely it had created huge momentum. But second roundtable conference failed to reach any objective. But Gandhi had already made it many points clear before the British. Gandhi wanted immediate establishment of the responsible government. Gandhi wanted that Indian National Congress representing India, so British should talk to the Congress first. Congress will try to bring consensus among the regional parties. And third was, that is the comprehensive idea. That third point is that do not go for the depressed class with with all the momentum of separate electorates, because it will deter the concept of unity of the Hindu, which is important for the mass nationalism, and moreover the factors of untouchability. Untouchability. So untouchability became very huge. So factors of untouchability. So second round to become and also failed. And then subsequently McDonald Award and then Pune Pact. But once the second phase had started, the situation in the second phase was little embarrassing for the Congress, because mass movement should be necessarily short-lived. So there is no such patience left among the people, and therefore the intensity had already subsided. And that is the reason why in 1933, when British released Gandhi from jail, he suspended civil disobedience movement and once again devoted himself in constructive work, and this time mobilization. So Harijan, the issue of Harijan was taken up. Harijan. So issue of Harijan was taken up. It became untouchable. So Harijan word was Harijan Sevak Sangh was established. And finally 1934, when there was a massive earthquake in Bihar, Gandhi decided to take back, and then he resigned from the primary membership of Congress as well. So as a true humanist, he completely devoted himself in constructive work. Completely devoted himself in constructive work. So Gandhian activities, Gandhian acumen as a super leader was not only related to the national movement, but at the same time social and economic empowerment of the Indians. He wanted to create a very aware citizen of India so that they can be politically conscious, socially conscious. So fundamentally, the Gandhi's wisdom and work had a huge participation of the masses. So this is how you can deal here the movement during the freedom struggle of India. So if you look at the comparison between the non-cooperation movement and the civil disobedience movement, it was sharp contrast, because civil disobedience movement was more radical than non-cooperation, more radical movement than non-cooperation. There was popular sentiments of the Hindu-Muslim unity in the non-cooperation movement, but here in CDM there was no such momentum, you can observe. But Gandhi was successful in implementing many new fundamentally contradictory the unit of Indian social system, like peasant was there, zamindar was there, labor was there, capitalist was there. So this is a way that Indian system was, Indian mass movement was categorically good. So Gandhi's endeavor in all this regard was acknowledged. So this is the question. Understand the theme of the question. Discuss the origin, spirit and participation of civil disobedience movement during the freedom struggle. Right. Then similar question is, the third decade of the 20th century is a watershed in the modern Indian history. So in many ways you can analyze it. So I think the last session I have discussed a lot about yourself here, and third decade means 1920s, where we have the Swaraj Party. There we have rise of the left wing Communist Party. We have the peasant movement, then constitutional development, revolutionary terrorism. These are the things we have to look at. Okay, so we will continue talking all these things in the next session. Thank you so much for the day.